Have you ever read the prophets of the Bible? I have. Something happens to you when you read the prophets. You begin to feel uneasy, even afraid. You wonder where you are in their vision for all of us. Am I righteous? Am I clean? Am I slothful? Am I petty? Am I learning to do good, to always seek justice, to rescue the oppressed? Let's hear from Isaiah chapter 16, where he says, "Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Remove the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Seek justice. Rescue the oppressed. Defend the orphan. Plead for the widow." And there's so much more. That's actually Isaiah being kind of chill, if you want to know the truth. We know prophets live among us now. They are often annoying or difficult. Prophets are actually the original disruptors. They disrupt. They make us feel guilty or ashamed of all the time we have spent focusing our lives on the wrong thing. In their time, Isaiah, Amos, Jeremiah, and others, they spoke from soapboxes in the town square, or they wrote letters from jail cells, or they traveled from town to town, surviving on very little, looking disheveled and wild-eyed. They meant for their words to survive into the next millennia, and it is a story of human triumph that they did. Prophets speak among us now. Sometimes they speak through legal briefs and court decisions, such as Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like the biblical prophets, Ginsburg was most often the voice of dissent. She built a courageous career writing blistering, clear dissents that cut through the legal and political jargon and stated the stakes plainly. In Bush versus Gore in 2000, where other justices wrote, "I respectfully dissent," Ginsburg wrote only, "I dissent." Ruth Bader Ginsburg wrote and spoke a more just world into being. And she had something to say to us. Long ago, she understood what a woman required to succeed in her career, and she wanted all women to know that freedom. She worked for all of us to be free. She longed for Congress and for the political process to be more respectful, compassionate, and deeply concerned for the most powerless in our country. What will happen next? We cannot know. So often, this presidency thrusts us back into the trauma of our childhood playgrounds, when the bully who was harassing us and terrorizing us gets his way, but without end or satiation. It feels like one of the kids who would stand up for us, who kind of knew how to handle the bully, feels like that kid has left us, died. And now it's only little you, raised to assume good intentions and believe in inherent goodness. Gentle you, facing a lying, cheating, endlessly greedy sadist. That's what it feels like this weekend. This is why so many of us crumpled to the floor in despair when we heard we had lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Why sleep evades us and eludes us on so many nights lately. Are you with me? Because we are being terrorized. And we can't even gather together. We can't hug each other, not even hold hands. But those of us who are living outside of a real, actual prison or detention center, We do have our freedom. And it is time to put that to good use. The Jewish mystic and theologian Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "Freedom is not an absolute, but a relative possession, an opportunity. We are free only when living in attachment to the Spirit. The blessings and opportunities of living in a free society must not make us blind to those aspects which threaten our freedom. The tyranny of needs, the vulgarization of the Spirit, well, they are a particular challenge." Well, we are surely living in a time of vulgarization of the Spirit, are we not? We may have a vulgarizer in chief, but let us not give him all the credit, no. The Jewish tradition teaches, in a place where there is no mensch, be a mensch. It is up to us to make the public conversation a moral and spiritual one. Heschel also said this: freedom is not only the ability to choose and to act, but also the ability to will and to love. The predominant feature of Jewish teaching throughout the ages is a sense of constant obligation. A sense of constant obligation. It is our obligation to one another, our communities, or acts of service and selflessness that binds us together. And in binding us, makes us all free. So when we talk about a city budget, for example, as a moral document, we mean thinking about our legal system and our systems of policing very differently. And for this Sunday morning hour, I want to ask, let us put aside our cynicism and our attachments to what we have understood keeps us safe, and instead imagine new possibilities, a new community, one where our public schools pay teachers a competitive salary and provide healthcare centers and provide counseling centers, one where schools practice restorative justice circles rather than employing rental cops and sending kids to all-day suspension, which really is planting the seeds of incarceration. Let us imagine a community where neighborhood community centers are flourishing. On almost every street corner, they are hubs of community support and care with social workers on call, and they provide neighborhood groups for anger management, conflict resolution, AA and NA meetings. Imagine a well-educated, lightly armed police force with fewer members who are highly trained in leadership skills, in mediation skills, in conflict resolution, in anti-bias training, sociological skills, and public health. Imagine that kind of police force. Imagine a new workforce of government-funded, skilled and unskilled laborers, paid well to build wind turbines, solar panels, to compost, new and create new urban infrastructure for environmental stewardship. Please imagine it. Imagine a world of obligation and accountable reconciliation rather than punishment. How often do the police prevent crimes? Do we still believe prison rehabilitates? Or have we accepted that it merely punishes? The truth is, we Unitarian Universalists, we can imagine and we can actualize a world where we are all free. Let me just tell you a little story about something that happened to some Unitarian Universalists in 2017, but it's a story of something that has happened to Unitarian Universalists again and again, and where we made a different choice. In 2017, when two UUA staff members, that's Unitarian Universalist Association, Staff members were tragically and terribly beaten on the streets of New Orleans at General Assembly as part of a robbery and mugging. Well, they worked for freedom for their assailants. Camera footage revealed of that night they had been attacked by 4 young black men staying at a nearby homeless shelter. Further research into these young men's lives revealed that their families had been displaced or lost during Hurricane Katrina and the year that followed it. And they had spent much of their childhood in and out of foster care as a result. Though one of the UUA staff members sustained long-term brain injury and nearly lost his life in the beating, both of the UUs who were attacked, wrote passionate letters to the judge requesting a restorative justice process rather than long prison sentences for these 4 young men. While the judge declined to listen to the victims' requests, he did reduce the sentence for the attackers from 20 years to 8 years, which felt like a small victory for the men who were attacked. What these UU staff members had hoped for was to share their trauma and their experience of being attacked with the young men who had beaten them. They had hoped to engage directly with them in the hopes of maybe changing the courses of those men's lives through compassion and accountability. That was their hope. Even in our own congregation, we have the chance to use this process called restorative justice circles, which is a model of accountability where people have to sit and listen to the pain they have caused through their actions. And they hear how their behavior, their words caused harm and pain to someone else in community, and they can try to connect with that with empathy. Try to make amends. Restorative justice circles require more of us than simple punishment, and the process is often uncomfortable, often it is painful, but there is a stronger possibility of healing and repair at the end. In our congregation, we can be a source of healing and justice in ways that our larger society cannot or does not understand at this moment. We can begin to create in our new campus the community center that I spoke of earlier. We can be that resource for our community, speaking this new world into being. Together, we are working to be free. Together, we seek the sweetness of this new year in the Jewish tradition. We have found some of that sweetness last Sunday in our virtual retreat program, and we spent the week sharing that with the world, letting some of the aspects of that virtual retreat, the sweetness that we found, go viral. This is just one of our superpowers as a beloved community. Together, we do work to be free. We are organizing actions to protest the human rights atrocities taking place in detention centers in Georgia. Together, we can be a source of healing for our community. Just as we spread sweetness through our choir's now viral video, I think it's viral, we will share a vision of a more just and equitable community, and we will spread that vision. And we will become a home. We are building a home for our ideals and our ideas where we make beloved community happen. And together, we will be prophets, speaking a new world into being. We will go along the highways and the byways, and we will share our vision for this world. We will bring spirit and revolutionary love with us, and our neighbors will notice us and wonder about the vision we share and the quality of our presence. You will run for office. We will take up leadership in the wider community. We will feed the hungry. We will bring prophecy into our housing associations, our school board meetings, our relationships, and we will never give up working for all of us to be free. Amen? So come, celebrate with me this beautiful, life-saving work of becoming more free. This is no time to sit back and wait for justice. I know we are weary, and we will take our rest when we need it. But not today. Today, I feel like we need to do what Shauna Floyd calls our spiritual calisthenics, spiritual exercises. There's one iconic image that sticks with me. It's an image of a tiny, diminutive woman with large glasses, well into her 80s, mid-80s, doing push-ups. She was training for the fight of a lifetime, each and every day, fighting bullies, fighting injustice, fighting oppression and evil. She was training to be our prophet. Well, we are all prophets now. So let us train. And I want to invite you to join with me to train however you are able to do, where you are. If you want to join me in some push-ups for Notorious RBG, you can do that. Or some other kind of training, physical training, as we prepare for this prophethood of all believers, the new world we will speak into being, the legacy we will carry. Let us train. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be.